everybody, and welcome to the Phil Taitt Show. Today I'm joined with guest WBLS host Dejon, who is far from ordinary. Ray's career spans back to the 90s when his career took off as he joined Ralph McDaniel's iconic show Video Music Box, which was the first time urban music had received playtime on television. While Ray's claim to fame quickly rose, he moved from hosting and interviewing to becoming a prominent figure in stand-up comedy, in which he has had much success with several sold-out shows and a faithful following. Ray represents commitment, longevity, and innovation. Let's take a look at Ray's incredible story.
People know you from the popular show. I mean, it's an iconic show, Video Music Box. It's the first show where urban music got playtime on television.
Yes.
And it was a video music countdown. You were bringing the live interviews, Tasty Tuesdays. You were bringing these interviews to the public. This has never been done on TV before.
Right.
But before even Video Music Box came around, you were on Dance Tracks, where you really first got your start.
Exactly.
Awesome.
It was on Channel 25, WNYE Television, which is owned by the Board of Education in New York City. They were right on Tillery. And it came on every Saturday, 11 a.m. I was the main host. We were in competition with the other show called Video Music Box, which had came out years before Dance Tracks. Maybe 5 or 6 years before Dance Tracks USA. But it was the same kind of format. I guess the guy who I worked for copied Ralph McDaniel's format. Ralph McDaniel's Video Music Box was on 6 days a week. It was the most talked about, watched show in comparison to other TV shows on television in the tri-state area. Their ratings were insane. And it was on 6 days a week. I'm like, I gotta get on
Compared to
this
this
show.
local syndicated show on by the Board of Ed, right?
Right. No, that show was good, but it wasn't as good as Video Music Box. And I said to myself, I gotta get on that show.
So what happened?
I kept going to Ralph. I kept showing up at his office.
Was he very easy to get to, or?
Nah, it was difficult to get to him. You know, I just kept asking questions, and I finally got to the office one day, and I got to talk to him. I'm like, listen, you know, I really want to, you know, be on your show if you give me an opportunity. He said, you know, you can just keep checking back with me. I kind of got, it was the holiday season, and it was very, very busy for the show.
Of course.
And I came back to him. He was like, you know what? I'm going to try you out. And that was over 20 years ago. And I've been with him ever since.
But what do you think was that thing that Ralph saw in you that said, I'm going to let this dude host my stuff now?
Oh, okay. Well, he had different kinds of personalities on the show. He had this guy named Crazy Sam. Crazy Sam was Crazy Sam. His name really explained who he was. He was a crazy dude with dreads. And at the time, back then, dreads looked kind of crazy. And he had this aggressive aura about him.
Okay.
So he did this show on Thursday called Nervous Thursdays. And Nervous Thursdays dealt with like hardcore hip hop.
Get at me, dog. Now we're there.
Okay. Then we had a show that Tuffy used to do. Tuffy was the funny, giddy, you know, personality, you little chubby guy that a lot of the girls liked. He was pretty funny. He would kind of do like the mainstream R&B type night.
Silk, or maybe even denim. It really doesn't matter as long as you're in. 'Cause we're close to the edge.
Then there was a night that didn't have a host called Tasty Tuesdays, which was more slow videos. And I had like this fashion appeal about me that Ralph was like, I think that you would be perfect for that because you got this smooth kind of thing about you. It kind of goes along with this. And then we had a reggae night, which they used somebody else for. So they had all these different personalities, and each night had a different theme. And my theme night was Tasty Tuesdays, and I kind of fit, my personality fit. Then on Saturday, Ralph would use all of us. So it would be like a rotation of all of us, or sometimes we would be on a show together.
You're interviewing all these people. Did you realize at any point, like how big
Well,
that
there were
was?
certain people. Well, when I first started and I did an interview with Stevie Wonder, I was totally in awe because he was already an icon.
Right.
So that was like incredible for me. But I knew that I was making a contribution, but I didn't really know the magnitude
that it
of
would
what
be.
was happening. at the time. I see it now. And
look at what you create. Look at what that video music box has created. From that show, now you have spin-off shows such as 106 in Park, TRL, Rhapsody on MTV. You had all these shows that were coming out, spin-offs of that show that you were a part of. And if anyone is to say that you are not a legend in your own right, or you are not a pioneer in your own right, then they're lying.
I contributed to. I'm a contribution
to the product,
or to Ralph's legacy, because he had the show already. He came up with the idea. He was the first one to play rap on television, a rap video.
That's huge.
On television. He was the first one. Did you also know that the term "I want to make a shout out"
started on your show?
Started on Video Music Box. So, and up until today, you know, you'll have a guy like Wolf Blitzer on CNN.
I want to make a shout out to
It's crazy. So there's a lot of history, and I don't think that Ralph gets the respect that he's due at times. I mean, there are folks that really recognize what his process was, but and when I look back now, we definitely contributed to boosting an artist's career.
Urban music.
Yeah, and Ralph still continues to make those contributions, although there's so many other video shows now, there's so many other, you know, things that media outlets that people use now. He still makes a difference.
And John made history. You didn't really want to stay in the hosting lane. Now you wanted to kind of transition into doing comedy. Explain to me how.
Well, I'm always going to be a host. The hosting is in my blood. I think it's a huge part of my character. I just had a passion for comedy because I have a sense of humor, but I didn't think that I would start doing it myself. I used this guy named Talent as my first host, and this was like 20 years ago, and we had a great show going. Through the popularity of Video Music Box, my thing was packed every week.
And because now it's Ray Dejon.
It's Ray Dejon's comedy night. Ralph would support me. He would mention it on the show. Got all these people coming. And so a couple of weeks, Talent didn't show up. I said, I'm not going to hire nobody else. I'll host my own show.
Right. They want to see you.
Since I was already a host, I would only do the introduction. Hey, you know, this is Ray Dejon. Thanks for coming out. Here's my host, Talent. Now, since Talent didn't show, I started doing it myself. And I started throwing in little jokes here and there. And it started working for me.
And people liked it. People are going to keep coming back more and more now.
So I started producing more comedy shows, hosting my own events. I had 3-4 comedy nights going on a week. I was doing well with all of them.
3-4 a week?
3-4, maybe sometimes even 5 different comedy nights a week.
You gave a stage for Kevin Hart to perform on. Cheryl Underwood.
Yes.
Was it Mike Epps too?
Mike Epps.
Mike Epps. So many big names. You brought in Bill Bellamy. All these different big name artists that kind of started on your stage, and you gave them a shot to show them what they had.
Kevin Hart used to do my smaller. He did the movie theater, but he did smaller things that I had, like little 50-seaters. I used to pay him $25 to do my show.
That's crazy.
And and Tracy Morgan is another one. I remember Tracy Morgan did this place called 3Bs that I had, and he got booed, and they started calling him a crackhead. And you know, this is around the time when he had just got on Saturday Night Live, and I had to go outside and counsel him. Again, here's that counseling ability for like 2 hours, saying, "Don't give up, man. Don't worry about this, blah blah blah." And he'll never forget that interaction that I had with him. And you know, you see where he's at today.
But Ray, I just want to thank you so much just for coming down. I mean, I think that, you know, your story is truly incredible just from everything that you went through growing up in Brooklyn, and how so many people can relate to your story, and how you've kind of turned your life, you've made a 360 now into doing the right thing and helping others and teaching others about your past story. You're a mastermind within itself. You're a legend to me within itself. Thank you so much for inspiring me. I've known you for 5 years now, and now it's been a while since I've seen you, but it's definitely great to reconnect, and I hope that it won't be that long until we meet again.
Well, I mean, I do appreciate the interview, but I do want to leave everybody with this, that everybody's different. I'm not the type of person that's going to say, if I did it, you can do it. I don't know what your story is. I don't know what your circumstances are. I don't know what your conditions were when you came up. Only you know that.
Right.
And you gotta find something that's gonna spark off that energy to give you the strength to move forward. Whatever that is for you. I discovered it through guidance and through being receptive to what people had to say, and I discovered what works for me. But everybody's different, Phil, and I understand why recovery for some is more difficult than others. I understand why when you look at the Middle East and you see a 7-year-old holding somebody's head that was decapitated and not feeling nothing. I understand that that's a condition that he grew up under. But we look at it like it's crazy. We don't understand because that's not our story.
Right.
The tolerance that I have might be different than yours. My mother was not your mom. You may not have had 8 children. I don't know what your story is, but you got to find out what works for you.
Once again, thank
Phil,
you so much.
thank you, man.
No, thank you. Thank you just for coming down once again, talking about your story. I mean, I will never forget. I had the dude from Video Music Box on my show just when I was just getting started. So I thank you, all right? Well, that's all for the Phil Taitt Show, folks at home. I want to thank Ray for coming down here just to talk about his dynamic story. I can't wait to share more stories with you. That's all for the Phil Taitt Show. Bye-bye.